Hey guys. Well, it's 2 a.m. here in Perth. Another late night for me. Had to work this evening. Finished at about 10:30, and I don't need to start until about 12 tomorrow, so I've got some time up my sleeve. Been doing some web surfing, just checking out a few things. Stumbled across Voyager, Voyager, that little spaceship. Well, there's two of them actually that we sent off about 30 years ago. Isn't that amazing? Don't you just think that that's just fantastic that we've got this little object so far from our little planet and it's still going? I just find that awesome. That's just incredible. Um, but a question that's sort of been playing on my mind is, what do religious people think when they're lying on their back looking up at the stars? Because it was once thought that God sort of planted the stars up in the heavens, in the firmament, and he just sort of stuck them up there, and that's what we all accepted. It wasn't too long before someone decided that that wasn't the case through experiments and observations, and we're at this point today where we know that it takes about 8 minutes for the light from the sun to reach Earth. So if you turn the sun off with a switch, flicked it on and off again, and stand from a side perspective, you wouldn't see the light, but if you could imagine, the light would leave the sun. 8 minutes later, it would hit the Earth. Yeah, that's cool. The same as when if you see an explosion on the net, you see a shock wave just radiating out. Same thing. So that takes 8 minutes. That's a fair while. So how long does it take from the light to reflect back from Pluto, where Voyager has probably passed, or I'm not sure, I haven't been following that closely, but I think it's passed. It's now entering the outer solar system. So how long does that take? It takes longer than 8 minutes. The nearest star, Alpha Centauri, that's about 4 light years away. So light travels at around 300 million meters a second, or 1.1 billion kilometers an hour. Close enough. So yeah, that's 4 light years away. Now our Milky Way galaxy, which we all live in, is around 80 to 100,000 light years across, which is pretty big, which sort of puts the whole 6,000-year-old Earth thing into question when you're looking at it that way. So as these people are lying on their back gazing at the stars, and they've, through education and science, they've realized that the stars aren't actually stuck to some sort of a perspex layer, like some sort of a snow dome, but they're out there in a void. Do they think about the speed of light? Do they think of the distance of these objects and how taken for that light to reach them? Do they think of the distance or how far they are? If they jumped into the fastest thing that we have available, it would still take them many lifetimes to get there. So how can they claim that Earth is so young? How can how can more than half of America still believe that the Earth was created 6,500 years ago, and that Adam and Eve are the first humans? They still believe this, over half on each account. So I just find that really bizarre, especially when we are presented with new information and evidence. Everything is talked about in billions of years now. Especially when you talk about astronomy, it's all billions of miles away and billions of light years this and distance that, and yet these people still live in this little bubble of denial that everything is so young and so fresh. Another question I have is, I was looking up environmentalist groups, and I wanted to see how many religious environmental groups there were out there. And I found one site that had hundreds and hundreds of them, and I tried to narrow it down to religious ones, and I found about 5, and about 3 of them were talking of this land that they've bought in South America, Belize, and some sort of a conservation park they've got going there. But I'm sort of thinking it's a bit of a retreat as well. They've got some pretty nice accommodation there. Um, but my point is, if another world awaits you, why concern yourself with this one? And then I think that's getting back to the whole the afterlife. There's another life awaiting me. There's not much I can do in this one. Why bother? That whole mentality, oh, the rapture's coming, everything will be sorted out, or God's going to sort it out. If the climate changes and some of the vital systems that keep the Earth alive stop, God will fix it. That's totally irrational to think that that's going to happen. Surely you don't wake up every day with that notion that whatever happens to you, God will sort it out. I mean, come on. Look where we are. It's 2007. I don't know if I'm actually intentionally finding more anti-religious and free-thinking material, or if it's just becoming more available on a daily basis, because I am seeing more and more people going against religion. And that's fantastic, because it's about fucking time. For so long we've lived under this bloody crazy backward thinking, and just recently we've wisened up, and we're getting very smart every day. There's something new is happening, something wonderful has just been developed that benefits mankind. And yet, what's religion doing that benefits mankind? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why don't you sell some of that expensive shit that you have in your churches and start putting some of the money that you're taking from these people and putting it into, fixing the planet, fixing God's little creation, God, I don't think you'd be too happy if you found out that, he's sort of gone on holidays and left you the keys to the house and you've just trashed it, I can't be silent on these things. I just have to say things, It's what I've always felt and what I've always thought, is the notion of a God is not good for man. It's just so insular. It's so repressive. It's so segregatory. I'm not sure if there's a word that I can put in there, but yeah, it segregates people. It just splits them apart into these little groups that fight each other for these whose God is better. And it's just fucked up. I don't care whose God is better. I don't care about God. I don't care that someone is judging me without any way of quantifying it back to me for me to be a better person. Now, if I was being judged in my workplace, there would be a meeting, there would be some points noted, there would be what changes can we make, where do we go from here? No, this is all arbitrary. This is God, and this is His word, and that's the end of the story. No, fuck that. I'm over it. So over it. I want answers. I want real answers. And the only answer I can see is that religion is wrong. Just so very wrong. And the more we distance ourselves from it, the better we will be as a race.